So, I was trying to see what I could find for the back of the moon. Photos of the back of the moon or whatever. I'll tell you what, it's pretty slim pickings. Got space.com here. It's from a few years ago. Photo shows far side of moon like never before. You really don't get much. Like this. Like to me, this looks like a picture of uh, close-up of finished concrete with a fisheye lens. Doesn't look like a sphere. Look, for one thing, there's this giant seam straight down the middle, which is weird. It's supposedly a composite of thousands, but I just see this one real obvious seam in the middle. Look how everything's bunched together at the top and the bottom, and how much information loss, stretch there is on the right and left sides. A powerful NASA probe has created the most detailed view yet of the far side of the moon. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter took the picture, which was released with a mosaic of other blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it sucks. Wow, it's an incredible picture. Tidal forces between the moon and Earth have affected the moon's rotation such that the satellite now only presents one side of itself to us, which scientists call the near side. The far side, sometimes incorrectly referred to as the dark side, remained hidden from human eyes until 1959, when the Soviet Luna 3 spacecraft first snapped photos of it. So, why? Why does it? Tidal forces between the moon and the Earth have affected the moon's rotation such that the satellite now only presents one side of itself to us. So if it's tidal forces, if it's some kind of tidal force friction with its revolution around the Earth causes it to rotate like that and only present one side to us, why wouldn't the same be true of the Earth and the sun? Like if the Earth is revolving around the sun, why wouldn't the tidal forces cause it to only present one face of the Earth to the sun? If that is how the physics works. So you know what I mean? Like why wouldn't, so then one day would be this equal to 1 year if the Earth in relation to the sun acted the same as the moon to the Earth supposedly does. The new image was built using data from LRO's wide-angle camera, one of the 3 imaging tools in the spacecraft's main lunar reconnaissance orbiter camera. Huge mound of data, it's just a small part. When taken together, blah, 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 the 7 instruments delivered more than 192 terabytes of data in the release, enough to fill about 41,000 DVDs. I mean, yeah, I can take a million pictures of each square millimeter of a finished concrete warehouse floor with a fisheye filter also. But regardless, I wasn't able to find all these pictures. You're hardly able to find anything. They say there's all these pictures, but it's like, of what? Of a piece of concrete, piece of sheetrock, a close up of a stick of chalk. But you can't even find them anyway. For the first year of its operational life, LRO spent most of its time scouting the moon to help NASA plan for future lunar exploration missions. So, nothing. It spent the first year doing nothing. In September 2010, the probe wrapped this mission up and shifted into a more of a pure science mode. So yeah, it wasn't doing that before, but now it's shifting into a more of a pure science mode now. Even before the latest data release, LRO had delivered in a big way, helping researchers generate the most detailed map of the giant warehouse finished concrete floor ever made. Here's a close-up of this beautiful, famous LRO. Most detailed image to date. Wow. I mean, come on, guys. It's a stick of chalk. Okay, and here we're at NASA. We got the Apollo 16 back of the moon image here. Let's take a look at this one. Credit, Apollo 16 crew. This one might be a ball of plaster. Who knows? That shade gradient on the bottom there. Does this moon look familiar? Possibly not. Even though it is the Earth's moon, it is. Locked in synchronous rotation, the moon always presents its well-known near side of the Earth. But from lunar orbit, astronauts also grew to know the moon's far side. This sharp picture, geez, it is sharp. The likely explanation is that the far side crust is thicker, making it harder for molten material from the interior to flow to the surface. The far side crust is thicker because these tidal forces that don't make any sense. And it's hollow, it rings like a bell, but it's also filled with molten lava, both. And here we have the evolution over time. The first picture from the Luna 3, they didn't have a camera. They did that first one with an Etch-a-Sketch. And then we got the second one here. We're not sure what these blue lines are yet. Okay, we think these might be water ice, these blue lines. Oh, I've been told that that's just to make it look like a sphere. That's an overlay. Sorry about that. And then here we have Apollo 16. Oh no, I don't know how this got in here. It's the wrong video. I'm sorry.
I am Werner von Braun. This motion picture was produced to enable you to experience more personally and vividly the most dramatic events of the Apollo 11 story. The pictures and sounds are real, recorded in real time, where the action really was. So, come with us. We are going to the moon.
And then, of course, we got this absolute gem, this beaut. I know you guys remember this one. We got a strange effect here. Oh, this green line, that must be water ice. And then I was looking at this website, Above Top Secret. You guys seen this? I honestly, I don't even think real people are allowed to post on this site. I think it's just strictly bots. It's just all the AI just talking to itself. The entire moon has been mapped by satellites. Satellites dating as far back as the 60s. What the hell are you on about? A real nice detailed image of the dark side of the moon was just released. I'm assuming that's the portion in question. Really? There are tons of photos of all sides of the moon. Do your research. This thread makes my brain cry. People need to get with the program. Get with the program, Einstein. Science is a great thing. Do your research. The entire moon has been imaged and mapped. Hint, no bases, no aliens, lots of rock, okay? Science is a great thing. Alright, let me do my research. Let me do a little research here, I guess. Here, someone posts the same image. What do they say? Here's just one image. Okay, dumbass. Case closed. Can't you see the image? This new plaster on my wall. There's a nice little video on this page. Seriously, dumbass. Here is the moon in full 360-degree coverage. But don't think too hard about the physics of where the satellite was to Earth's position to the moon's position to get this shot in effect. It'll tend to make you dizzy, lol. Definitely don't think about it. Don't think about it too much. Also, I don't know how to embed these videos, so a link is what you get. Okay, so they got a video. Wow. Earth's moon in full 360-degree rotation. Science has never been real good about explaining the dark side term, and what a misnomer that is. Alright, well, I guess let's check out the video, see if it's case closed or what. Okay, let's watch the video he's talking about. See if it's case closed. Okay, here we go. It's going. Wow. What? That was it? That's it. That's literally the whole video. Well, yeah, I guess that does about wrap it up. Turns out we're wrong. Okay, and then this comment's the same thing. Tidally bound. That's why we only see one side. The reason why this sort of synchronization happens is that the mass-distance relation of Earth and the Moon and the fact that they blah, 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 blah. This imperfectness creates a sort of small friction where both bodies get slower over time to the point that one of the partners is in sync. So why wouldn't this be the case with the Earth? Why isn't one day the same as 1 year if this is the case? Here's a zoomable browser of the whole moon using pictures taken by the camera on the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. It's the same picture. It's that one picture where it's all bunched up at the top and the bottom. You can get pretty close high-res images of the finished concrete floor in the warehouse the more you zoom in. Like, it's a joke. There's nothing. There's nothing to see. Here's someone trying to explain why there's not a lot of images. They just create a ton of noise, static, flack, like as if there is tons of pictures and tons of data, but the actual primary data doesn't exist. They just create all this fake noise around it. We do not get tons of images from the sites because optical systems, to be capable of making a lunar photo with desired resolution from, let's say, Earth's surface, need to be the size of a football field. What the fuck are you talking about? A Nikon P1000, you could see the fucking buggy if it was really there. Like, so why don't you put a Nikon P1000 on any of these spacecrafts or satellites? It's a thing about wavelength and focus length. Shut the fuck up. Fucking hilarious. Even Hubble, with its large mirror, cannot take a proper picture of it for this reason. And it's like one of the last comments. Here's just another set. The Clementine global albedo images. I mean, it's not a whole lot there.
This spacecraft is sending new maps of the moon's surface back to Earth.
But
it was launched in June, but
instead of showing you that, we're just going to show you all computer animations instead.
Only started gathering data. One of its instruments bounces laser bursts off the moon's surface.
Laser bursts.
By measuring the time it takes for them to return, it builds up a 3D map of the terrain.
But we're not going to show you
Another sensor is mapping the moon's temperature.
So, we're told that this is how gravity works. A massive object curves space, and other objects passing by basically fall towards it. Okay? So the moon is falling around the earth is falling around the sun. All the planets are falling around the sun. The satellites are falling around the earth. Okay, this is how everything works. They tell us. I see a huge problem with this. With this being the way orbits work. It seems so obvious. Maybe I'm missing something here. But we've all seen these things, right? In the grocery store, in the mall, the coin vortex. This is exactly what we're looking at here. We can watch their model in action. So compare these two and tell me what's the problem you see here. This is their model, the coin vortex, basically, falling towards this gravity well, this depression in space. Okay, how, if that's how it works, how do you hold an orbit? How does the Earth orbit? How do the planets orbit in fixed rings, unchanging? They need to be falling always towards the center. Like, this is a very finite thing. You only have so many revolutions. You know, if you're falling inwards, then you need to be falling inwards. The moon can't just go around and around and around and around the Earth. It needs to fall into the Earth. The Earth can't just go around and around and around the sun. It needs to fall into the sun. You see how ridiculous this model is? This doesn't make any sense. How can you be falling if you're not going anywhere?